Number one in this race is Surfer Dude out of Kentucky, ridden by Ray Luke Gutierrez and trained by Dallas Stewart. So 6 starts in 2021, one first place finish, one second place finish, and three third place finishes. $113,000 brought in. And what I like to see here is most recently ran at Fairgrounds, which is the same track that this horse is going to be running at this weekend. Third place in that one in the Gunrunner Stakes. That was a listed stakes race and an 85 e-speed figure on that one. So kind of towards the front of the pack in that. That's the race that we're really going to be looking to judge how this horse is going to perform this weekend. One thing I do like to see, and this is the race you can see on screen right here, first place maiden special weight at Churchill Downs on November 28th. So that was a little bit off. It was the second most recent race for this horse. However, first place in that one, that's something that I like to see, and it's a good start to this horse's career coming off of that maiden special weight victory. So then, of course, you have going back to the Fairgrounds. I think overall this horse is not my top contender for this race. However, being in the top three in the Gunrunner listed stakes race at Fairgrounds most recently, I think this horse is definitely a contender, and I think this horse could make a name for himself. Next up, we got the number 2 Unified Report out of Louisiana, the home state here. This is my favorite for the race. We have 3 starts in 2021 and 3 first place finishes for $154,000. And ridden by Corey Lenery and trained by Dallas Stewart. So, most recently, Fairgrounds in a listed stakes race, Louisiana Champions Day Juvenile Stakes. First place in that one with a 90 speed figure, so I like to see this horse competing against similar talent and winning, coming in first place. You can see that race right here on screen. Right before that, another listed stakes victory, first place Louisiana Legacy Stakes at the Delta Downs, and before that, a maiden special weight victory on September 24th at the Churchill Downs. First place there, 83 speed figure to 79 to 90. So a slow increase in speed figure for this horse, going from first place in every single victory in 2021, all coming in the last 3 months of the year. So this is my top contender for this race. I think this horse has the best shot at winning. You see a 3-5 winner, most recently at Fairgrounds. So look to Unified Report to win this race. Next up, we got the number 3 Papa Cap out of Florida, a very profitable horse, $576,000 brought in last year. So we got 5 starts, 2 first place finishes, 2 second place finishes, ridden by Joe Bravo and trained by Mark Cass. Most recently running second place in the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile. This is my horse that I'm picking to come in second place in this race behind Unified Report. This is a very talented horse and a great contender for the Kentucky Derby. 95 e-speed figure in that race, and then came in second place right before that at the Grade 1 American Pharoah Stakes. So what would push me to want to see this horse come in first place for this race coming this weekend? You have consistently 2 second place finishes. Now an increase in speed from that October 1st to that November 5th race. However, I want to see Papa Cap be able to get over that hump to first place. And I think that's something that this horse could do this weekend. But until I see it, I'm going to go with second place for this horse like he's done in his past 2 races. And before that, at Del Mar, 4th place in the Run Happy Del Mar Futurity. So a little inconsistent on his part there. But most recently, second place in a very tough race, the Juvenile, behind Cornish. So I'm going second place for Papa Cap. Next up is the number 4 Trafalgar. Trafalgar has raced 3 times last year for $117,000, ridden by Colby Hernandez and trained by Albert Stahl. So we have 2 first place finishes and 1 second place, and most recently Fairgrounds first place allowance optional claiming race on December 2nd. That is something really good to see for this race at the same track, and you have first place maiden special weight victory at Churchill Downs on October 2nd, 2 months before that most recent race. So a little bit of a longer layoff for this horse. However, a decrease in the e-speed figure, so probably not a contender, I think, for the top 2 with Papa Cap and Unified Report. However, this is a horse that could be towards the top with 2 first place finishes. Most recently, that's something that is not seen by many of the other horses in the race. And before that, at Saratoga, second place on September 4th towards the close of the summer meet. So you have first place at Fairgrounds most recently, same track. You can see that on screen right here. This horse did pretty well in that race, and allowance optional claiming against a little older, a little better talent. So I think this horse has a chance, not the top contender, but certainly a chance. Next up is the number 5 Epicenter. Epicenter is out of Kentucky, Tridden. Next up is the number 5 Epicenter out of Kentucky, ridden by Joel Rosario and trained by Stephen Asmussen. We got 3 starts in 2021, 2 first place finishes, and $130,000 brought in. And the breeder is West Wind Farms. Most recently, first place in the Gun Runner Stakes at Fairgrounds. So that was right ahead of the number one horse in this race at a 98 e-speed figure. Super quick. You're going to see in this replay coming around the home stretch right here. First place right before that in November 13th, maiden special weight at Churchill Downs, 97 e-speed figure in that race. So this is a very quick horse, and you have back-to-back 2 victories coming November 13th and December 26th. Before that, 6th place in the maiden special weight 78 e-speed figure at Churchill Downs. That was pretty bad, but recovered very well with first place. You can see the number 1 at 5-2 coming in with a victory right here over some pretty tough talent in the Gun Runner Stakes. And that was a listed stakes race at Fairgrounds. So first place at the same track. I'd say this, even more than the number 4 horse in this race, I would say Epicenter here is a contender for the top spot. Next up is the number 6 Cyberknife out of Kentucky, ridden by Florent Geroux and trained by Brad Cox. Most recently we have Fairgrounds maiden special weight. First place finish, e-speed figure of 91, so a little on the slower side compared to that number 5 Epicenter we just talked about. Right before that, second place at the maiden special weight, so a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe lack of consistency isn't the right word or phrase to describe it, but here we have second place at Churchill Downs, and then a first place at Fairgrounds, so a little slowly improving, but has only stayed at the maiden special weight level compared to some of the other horses in the race. So again, not a top contender. I would not be surprised if this horse does well coming off of that most recent victory at Fairgrounds. You see race number 13 right here, the day after Christmas, coming in that maiden special weight, race 13, first place, 91 e-speed figure, beating out a lot of these other horses at 1-2 odds. That is an impressive horse, and one that you should certainly be watching in later races. However, this horse does not really stack up in my mind to some of the other horses in the race, so I'm going to put him a little bit towards the middle of the pack for this one. Next up, we got Blue Kentucky out of Kentucky, ridden by Jareth Loveberry and trained by Wayne Catalano. So this is not really a contender in my mind for this one. Most recently in the Sugar Bowl Stakes, listed stakes race on December 27th at the Fairgrounds, you have 94 e-speed figure, third place in that one. Right before that, first place victory in an allowance race at Churchill Downs. I mean, if we're just going off of that, if this most recent race didn't happen, it'd be pretty good. But 94 e-speed figure is fast. However, not fast enough, as you'll see. Third place in that one, not so good. But you'll see in the first place here at Churchill Downs that this horse can run, but a little inconsistent. You look at this prior performances, you see 6th place at Churchill Downs, 4th place at Churchill Downs, and 6th place at Ellis Park in this horse's record, and this all happened in the latter half of 2021. So I'm very concerned about how consistent this horse is, especially coming in third place most recently in the Sugar Bowl Stakes, coming off of that victory at Churchill Downs. So unfortunately, Blue Kentucky is not going to be a contender in my mind. Number 8 is Call Me Midnight. Call Me Midnight out of Kentucky, trained by Keith Desmoreau and ridden by James Graham. 6 starts in 2021, $101,000 brought in first place, second place, and then 4 non-finishes. So we have 7th place in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes, Grade 2 race. That wasn't even a Grade 1, coming in 7th place in that one. 80 e-speed figure. I mean, not the slowest in the world, but not stacking up with the other horses in the race, clearly. Churchill Downs for that one. And then you'll see on screen here the first place maiden special weight there at Churchill Downs. So, of course, doing well in the maiden special weight category. 2nd place at Keeneland, 1st place at Churchill Downs. Coming up from 10th and 4th place at Churchill Downs in the past. However, I don't like to see that this horse was not able to replicate the success that he saw in this race at Churchill Downs, coming in first place in that one. Not able to replicate in the race at Churchill Downs, coming up at the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes race, Grade 2. 7th place in that one. So this horse, unfortunately, is a little bit too inconsistent in my mind to be a contender for this race. So I think could happen, probably won't. And finally, the number 9, Presidential, ridden by Brian Hernandez Jr. and trained by Stephen Asmussen. 2 starts in 2021, that's the lowest in this race, $20,000 brought in. You can see racing at Indiana Grand, low purse track, and first place for one of them, and then 4th place for the other one. First place maiden special weight at Indiana Grand Race Course, but it took him 2 tries, and 4th place right before that with an e-speed figure of 47. Probably don't want to watch the replay on that one. 79 e-speed figure for this one, a little bit on the slower end, especially for a first place horse, but you'll see at this one, definitely a hard-fought victory. And this horse came in first place at maiden special weight at Indiana Grand. That was August 31st, so a kind of a long layoff for this one. Presidential, definitely a cool name, maybe the coolest in the race. However, that's not what makes winning horses. not all the time at least. So I think this horse is not a contender. I think that the caliber of track raced at, you see $22,000, the long layoff for this horse, lower E-speed figure despite coming in first place in the maiden special weights. I don't think this horse is a contender. Not going to bet on him.